Because I keep seeing this we ain't voting for Joe Biden, but you need to take this W right here, flip it upside down, and let's talk about me real quick, because me don't equal we, because my A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, however, am voting for Joe Biden, and ain't no thing y'all ass is gonna do about it, okay? Look. See, this A, B, C, D, back to the G. The G here, we have a House Speaker who believes that the LGBT and the G means gay, my black ass. My gay, happy, rainbow, sugar-coated motherfucker. They want to ban and make it illegal to be gay. So, back to me real quick. If y'all asses don't vote for Joe, then my ass is going to damn jail. So my question is, are all y'all collectively gonna put money on my books? That's the goddamn question. So keep me out of it when y'all talking about we ain't voting for Joe Biden, because my ass is voting, and ain't no thing y'all mother gonna do about it, okay? So keep me out of it. Keep me out of it. Don't speak for I. Don't speak for me. Speak for yourself.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, the Democrat Party is imploding. And no, this is not an exaggeration. This is not clickbait. Like, I'm so serious. The Democrat Party is actually imploding. For all the smack talk that the liberal media did about Republicans and their whole Speaker of the House debacle, what the Democrats are currently dealing with is much worse than what the Republicans are dealing with in terms of dysfunction within their own party. Okay, because it's at the point now where Democrats are literally threatening each other, right? Threatening to fight each other over this issue of Israel and Palestine.
He's cowardly. I think he's not acting in the role as a member of Congress. I think he's shown himself to be very emotional. Like most cowardly people, when you confront them, they're afraid. I'm unafraid of the guy. And if he wants to call us despicable, I'm saying he's a coward and he's a punk, and he should remember why the people sent him here. And if he wants to play some kind of tough guy or gangster, we can handle it like gentlemen, and we can get into something else.
Pretty strong words that you really don't hear from a member of the same party going out, even members of opposing parties saying that. I did reach out to Gottheimer himself, and I asked him about Mr. Carson's comments. Gottheimer said, I'll sit down with Mr. Carson anytime to talk about how we can bring hostages home, including all Americans, provide immediate humanitarian aid to Palestinian civilians being used as human shields, and crush Hamas and all terrorists seeking to do us harm, trying to de-escalate things. I'm also told that Carson and Gottheimer are likely to meet, according to a Democratic leadership source. You talked to Carson also. What do you make of this?
I think this is a conversation that is happening in the public, and Democrats will probably argue they're a more diverse caucus, and those same conversations are happening within their caucus. I think it's interesting to see Gottheimer had another tweet this morning kind of saying that, it behooves them to maybe have some conversations. Yeah. So I don't think they want to air this out and mirror what's going on in society. We'll see what unfurls.
Yeah, and look, Gottheimer says the 15 who voted no or present don't speak for the party, but polls show that progressives are more sympathetic to the Palestinian cause. On your screen, you see the 15 who voted against Israel. Notably, those are people of color. Some of them are Muslim Americans as well. There's just this sharp divide within the party. The longer this plays out, the more divide is going to be pronounced within the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and when you see, the protests on college campuses and in the streets, I mean, these are young far left activists who are driving a lot of this, and that's reflected in the younger and more far left members of the party who were those who didn't vote for the resolution. This has been going on for a long time. It's been the AIPAC and Democratic Majority for Israel that has been opposing the so-called squad members in a lot of Democratic primaries for many years now, seeing them as latently anti-Semitic, seeing them as a threat to the Democratic Party's mostly united support for Israel historically. Yeah. And so the president has staked out a very aggressively pro-Israel position that a lot of, young voters and voters of color may not share. And it's a fracture that I think is deepening.
Yeah, this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? I'm telling you guys, it really is. Okay. What you had there was a situation where a Democrat representative by the name of Andre Carlson, this guy right here, threatened a Jewish member of Congress, Josh Gottheimer, after Josh Gottheimer basically condemn the 15 Democrats that did not vote in favor of the bipartisan resolution to support Israel and to condemn the attacks against him. Again, essentially, this guy called the Democrats that voted against that resolution despicable. And this guy didn't take too kindly to it, this Democrat, and he basically, started threatening the Jewish Congress members saying, we can square up, right, if you really want to go there. Okay, and then you have the ADL jumping in. Okay, Jonathan Greenblatt, the leader of the ADL, he's saying it's inexcusable for any member of Congress to threaten a colleague, and it's especially egregious that Rep. Andre Carlson is threatening a Jewish member for speaking out at a moment when we're seeing a massive spike in anti-Semitism. What's the point? Does he think it's productive to intimidate Josh Gottheimer, right? So you see what's going on here, right? This is a full-blown Democrat civil war that the mainstream liberal media is not going to talk about too much, like they talk about the Republicans and the Republican civil war with the Speaker of the House issue that literally nobody is going to remember or let alone go to the polls and vote over in 2024. But this issue right here is actually an issue that can/will take the Democrat Party, considering the direction that, things are going. Okay, we have protests that are happening not just in the United States, but worldwide over what is currently happening in this situation with Israel and Palestine, which again is a terrible, tragic situation. I am praying for peace. There are Muslims, Christians, Jews dying, okay? And that is a tragic and terrible thing that, for me personally, I would like to see peace in that situation, right? And I'm praying for the innocent civilians that get caught up in it on both sides. So, with that being said, again, a lot of people are upset, specifically young voters. And you're already seeing Biden's approval rating among Democrats drop tremendously in the wake of Biden's support for Israel during this conflict, in which, again, you have young voters walking away and saying, you know what? We're not going to support Biden. We will not vote for Biden over this issue. Let's read here. President Biden's approval rating among Democrats has plummeted to a record low of 75%, down a staggering 11 percentage points over just the last month, according to a new Gallup poll conducted between October 2nd and October 23rd. Here's where the young voters come in. The divide is particularly stark among generations. Less than half, 48% of Gen Z and millennials believe the U.S. should publicly voice support for Israel, according to a recent NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll. Yeah. So again, this is a big deal. Okay. It really is, because Democrats cannot win if Gen Z and millennials do not vote, right? If they sit out, particularly over this issue, right? They feel very strongly about it. They probably feel more strongly about this issue than inflation, the border, crime, all the other things Democrats have messed up in this country. It seems to me there's a huge movement to not vote for Joe Biden. And this issue right here seems to be the issue that really is putting the nail in the coffin of the Democrats. Biden's approval in October's Gallup poll fell 4 points to match a record low of 37%, driven by his slide among Democrats and 4-point drop-off among independents, 35%. His approval among Republicans remains steady at 5%. So yes, Biden has a youth vote problem. Okay, and what is happening overseas is making it a lot worse. But it's not just Biden's problem. It is a problem for the Democrat Party as a whole. But somebody who could inherit the problem, who should be highly concerned about what's going on here, who is actually on Biden's ticket, he's in Biden's White House because she could attract young minority voters, Kamala Harris, the vice president that most people expect to take over for Joe Biden just in case, something happens and Joe Biden can't be president anymore. However, a lot of people are not confident that Kamala Harris is actually going to be next up. A lot of people actually believe that it's going to be Gavin Newsom, who is currently conducting foreign policy overseas in China, selling out the American people. They believe that he would actually be the one up next to replace Biden, not Kamala, which clearly is a slap in the face to Kamala. And she was actually confronted about the fact that even Democrat Party donors don't think that she should be next up to replace Biden if he can't run or be president in 2024. Take a look.
We were talking to some Democratic donors, and they have told us that should something befall President Biden and he is not able to run, that there would be a free-for-all for who would run as president. You are in the spot that would be unnatural for you to step up, but we're hearing from donors that they would not naturally fall into line. Why is that?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to engage in that hypothetical because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election. So
but you do know, I mean, that is a concern and a legitimate concern, I would say.
I hear from a lot of different people a lot of different things, but let me just tell you, I'm focused on the job. I truly am. Our democracy is on the line, Bill. And I frankly, in my head, do not have time for parlor games when we have a president who is running for re-election.
So throughout this whole interview, Kamala Harris was asked multiple times why the administration is so bad. Why don't people like the administration? Why are the polls so terrible? And she just really didn't have an answer for why nobody is liking the Biden administration right now. Take a look.
Why are you not 30 points ahead?
Well, I'm not a political pundit, so I'm not going to speak to that. But what I will say is this. When the American people are able to take a close look at election time on their options, I think the choice is going to be clear. Bill, we're going to win. Let me just tell you that. We're going to win.
A recent CBS poll found that at the beginning of President Biden's term, 70% of young people under 30, said he was doing a good job. Now it's less than 50%. Why is that? What's going on?
If you poll how young people feel about the climate and the warming of our planet, it polls as one of their top concerns. When we talk about what we are doing with student loan debt, polls very high. The challenge that we have as an administration is we got to let people know who brung it to them. That's our challenge. But it is not that the work we are doing is not very, very popular with a lot of people.
The delusion is out of control, right? It really is. She really thinks that the work of the Biden administration, inflation, open border, I mean, come on, Kamala. You're the border czar, right? You're the border czar, and you've been missing in action on the border.
Most Americans say that they don't think you're doing a good job on the border, you and the administration. The number of people trying to cross the U.S. southern border is at an all-time high.
It's no secret that we have a broken immigration system. Short term, we need a safe, orderly, and humane border policy. And long term, we need to invest in the root causes of migration. But the bottom line, Congress needs to act. Come on, participate in the solution instead of political gamesmanship.
Yeah, so again, what all the terrible things this administration has done, they believe that their policies have been great, right? That, hey, everybody agrees with what we're doing, right? That's why our approval ratings are so low. They're just not hearing the message. Or better yet, they're just not buying the message, right? Nobody's buying that the economy is great right now with mortgage rates at 8% and people unable to afford homes, right? Nobody's buying that, okay? Nobody's buying it with inflation being out of control. Nobody's buying it when real wage growth is declining. People objectively like getting poor in like real terms, okay? The dollar's less valuable to the American people in regards to spending. We have less purchasing power. Yeah, nobody's buying your Bidenomics nonsense. Okay. But again, they believe they have a good message, right? This is what they believe. So with that being said, again, you heard Kamala address the concern of Gen Z, okay, who are abandoning Democrats, right, over this issue of Israel. And Kamala Harris did address that during this interview. And I want to play her response because she says that, you know, there are no plans to have U.S. troops on the ground as of right now. Take a look.
How close is this to becoming a regional conflict that could draw in U.S. troops?
We have absolutely no intention, nor do we have any plans to send combat troops into Israel or Gaza, period.
Vice President Harris told us the U.S. is not telling Israel what to do, but is providing advice, equipment, and diplomatic support.
Israel, without any question, has a right to defend itself. That being said, it is very important that there be no conflation between Hamas and the Palestinians. The Palestinians deserve equal measures of safety and security, self-determination and dignity. And we have been very clear that the rules of war must be adhered to and that there be humanitarian aid that flows.
She told us the U.S. wants to keep the conflict from escalating, but that's proving difficult. And what's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so that's Kamala, saying, look, as of right now, there's no plans for ground troops in Gaza or Israel, okay? And I'm assuming, again, she's saying that as a way to try to tone down the fears that the U.S. will get dragged into this conflict, which is something that, again, definitely would, I think, guarantee Biden loses in 2024. But she's also trying to act super tough on Iran, okay? She warned Iran, don't. Right? That's the met. Don't. She says one word, don't, which, I mean, I'm not sure if don't is actually one word. I mean, because don't is short for do not, right? So I don't know. Okay, maybe it's two words, maybe it's one word. I'm not sure. But I'm not necessarily buying into the tough guy, persona here that Kamala is trying to portray, okay? Because I had to keep it honest with you guys. I mean, with the state of our military, we've given a lot of our ammunition, a lot of our weapons to Ukraine. I'm not sure we're ready, right? I'm not sure we're ready to enter another conflict. But if you listen to Nikki Haley, you think we'd be ready to fight every conflict around the world, right? We're ready to go to war with Iran, China, and Russia at the same time, listening to Nikki Haley and the neocon. So I don't know. But what I do know, again, is that this issue right here is gonna be a really, really, really hard issue for Democrats to deal with in 2024, especially if this conflict continues to escalate. And it looks like to me that it will continue to escalate. And the more it continues to escalate, you're going to see a lot more backlash and things are going to get crazy. Things are already crazy right now. If you guys pay attention to some of the news stories about the protests going on around the world, it's only going to get worse the longer that this drags on. And I think that it's going to destroy the Democrat Party. Again, for as much as everybody was talking about the Republicans' little Speaker of the House battle, that is nothing compared to what the Democrats are going through right now. Okay? Democrats, their whole party, again, can be tanked and destroyed behind this issue. So it'll be fascinating to see what they do moving forward in order to, avoid losing basically their only hope of winning in 2024. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.